no, I just got eyeshadow all over my pants. Oh well. Everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Christina, and today I'm picking my least favorite eyeshadow color from every single one of my eyeshadow palettes. So I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, I went through all of my eyeshadow palettes and I picked out my favorite shade in all of them, and ever since that video, I not only discovered that I really like green shadows, I have also been curious to see what are my least favorite shades in all of my palettes. So I grabbed all of the eyeshadow palettes that I had in that last video. I have, since that video, received more palettes, but I'm not going to include those. These are mainly like the main staple palettes in my collection, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. And we're going to go through those and pick my least favorite shades. In my head, I think I know how this is going to go. There are just certain shades and palettes that I really don't care for. I really don't gravitate towards a black eyeshadow for some reason. To deepen up like my eyeshadows, I like to use dark browns. But for some reason, like the black eyeshadows scare me because of how fair skinned I am. I'm always scared that it's gonna go like way overboard. So I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of really dark, like dark purple and blacks in this lineup, but we'll see because I'm not sure. Now before we get into my eyeshadows and we start swatching all of them, make sure to hit that subscribe button because I do upload every day, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard. And of course I don't want you guys to miss any of that, so just make sure to hit that button before we get any further. And I guess now let's just start swatching stuff. So I did learn in my last video that swatching it here is like impossible, so I will be like swatching them like on the back of my arm. So hopefully I'll be able to see what I'm doing, but I'm hoping that is a little better. We'll see. First eyeshadow palette that I am picking up is the LMR Cosmetics palette. I love this little palette, and actually like looking at it right now, like looking at the palette, I love this palette so much. I really don't want to pick my least favorite shade, but I guess if I have to pick, it's gonna have to be this dark blue. Not because it's not a pretty color, it's just that's the one I've used the least. So I guess that's why I'm gonna pick it. It's gonna be like down at my elbow. So there is the first swatch. It swatches so pretty though. But yeah, this blue, I just don't wear blue eyeshadows very often, if ever, because I have blue eyes, I have like a light skin tone, and I think sometimes it just makes me look like the 80s gone wrong on my face. So I don't really gravitate towards blue shadows, but it is such a pretty color. So who calling me? Who you is? I don't know this number. Ignoring you. Next palette is my Friendcation palette with Dose of Colors. I feel like I might know how this video's going. So this one is kind of the same kind of feel. I don't gravitate towards the blues naturally. I do really like this blue, but this dark blue, I honestly haven't even used yet, which I believe this one's a duochrome. Yeah, it's like that one did not swatch as well as the other one. Let me double that up, even though people hate that. I don't gravitate towards this color. I think from looking at people's like videos of this palette, that color swatches on the eyes a lot different, but I haven't used it yet. I've used every single other shade in that palette except for that one. So far we're on like a blue kick, which honestly now that I'm thinking about it, doesn't surprise me very much. Next palette is this Milani's Bold Obsessions palette. Now I don't believe there's a blue in here. Yes, there is. So this is the inside of the palette. Now there's two colors in here that I've literally never even swatched, and that would be the slate blue and the black. Now, blacks I never go for, but I'm more likely to use the black than the blue in this case. So here we go. It's another like really dark blue jean blue. Swatching that though, it actually looks a lot more purple than I was expecting. It's like a really dark bruise colored blue. I did it again. I forgot to grab a makeup wipe. Hold please. Hold please. Next palette is the Persona Identity palette, and this is just a neutral palette. Honestly, I feel like the one color I don't like, and like I feel like it doesn't fit in with the rest of the group here, is this Audacious color. Like this orangey color. Like if I cover it up, like she's different. I actually have never used that color either. but it is a pretty color. But I know for a fact when I look at this palette, I don't gravitate towards that one. For whatever reason, it just doesn't call my attention in this palette. Like when I look over in this palette, I am like gravitated towards this side more so, like the cooler tone side. I don't know. Next palette is the Dream Street palette with Kathleen Lights and ColourPop. I already know which one I don't like, which again, it isn't the blues actually. It is one that I actually tried to use once and I just didn't care for it, and it's the little pink color. Now I like a pink look, but for some reason, I don't like this particular shade on me. It just like kind of made me look like I had an eye infection. And I think it's just because of my undertone and my skin tone in general. I just didn't like the color on me personally. The shadow is fine, but it just looks weird on my skin. I could probably like layer it up with a brown to make it like work a little bit better, but it's just that I don't like the tone on me. That's really it. Next palette is the Zodiac palette, another Kathleen Lights palette, and I think I've used all of the colors in here except for one. I'm pretty sure I've used all the colors in this palette as well except for one, and it is unfortunately the Capricorn color, which sucks because I am a Capricorn moon and you'd think I would want to use the Capricorn color, but it's a black shadow with gold shimmers in it, which would, I thought when she talked about this color that I would be more interested in it because I was like, oh, it's not just a black, it's a black shimmer. And it has like gold flecks in it, which I think is really pretty. Aesthetically, again, I love black and gold together. I think it works really well, but I don't know how to use this eyeshadow. Like, do I put it on my lid? Because it can't go in the crease, but you guys know I have like small hooded eyes, and putting black on my tiny lid space just not ideal. It's a great shadow. That's a beautiful swatch. The glitters in it are so pretty, like swatched wise. Like looking at it, it makes me happy. On my eyes, no. I don't know how to use it because I have no skills. Next palette is the Pixie and Judy Time palette. This one's very neutral, but once again, we have a black shadow with gold shimmer in it. Like, this one has like a green shift to it. Like, what am I supposed to do with this shadow? Ooh, that one does not swatch as good either. That swatched like a weird gray color. But I don't know what to do with that shadow. It has glitter in it. Next palette is the Zulu palette, and this is another one of those palettes where I look at it and I'm like, I love everything in here. So, like, there's not one that I can't find a way to use it or one that I don't gravitate towards. We're not picking one. Zulu palette wins. Next palette is the Marvelous Mauves palette by Dose of Colors. And, I mean, these are all relatively in the same family, and it's actually not the dark shade that I don't like. My least favorite is actually the lightest shade, this light pink at the end. It looks like it's going to be like a nice whiteout base. So when I try to set my lid with it, I don't like the way it looks on me. Like, it just has a weird, it almost looks like I have a weird cast on my eye. It's not my favorite. The shadow itself is good. I just, again, it's a tone I don't really like on my skin tone. Next palette is the Royals palette by Bad Habit. This is essentially a Modern Renaissance dupe, and the shadows I don't like in here. This is what makes me think I'm glad I didn't buy the Modern Renaissance for myself, because I don't think I would use it, and it's this color down here. It's either this pink or this pink, because again, I like pink looks like on other people, but a lot of the times on me, I feel like I look sick. Like, I just don't know if pink, because I guess again, because I have a cool undertone, I don't think I've found like a good pink look that like works on my skin tone. So that is that one. The shadow swatch really nice, and it's like a pretty color again, but it just, I don't like the way pinks look on me very much. Next palette is another Bad Habit palette. This is the Aphrodite palette. Nope, I can't read. This is the Athena palette. This one is also very like pinky and purple. I do like this palette as well. This shade right here, Purity, is like a yellow based cream. I don't like this as like a shadow. I don't like this as like a shadow on my lid per se, because it's a weird color. I can use it to like kind of set my lid, but it's a little too yellow to set my lid, so I don't really like it. It's not enough of like a bone shade. So I never use it. It's not that it's a bad shadow. It's not that I couldn't use it. I just don't ever use it. Now this is the Aphrodite palette. It's another Bad Habit palette. And this one is a little bit like darker in scheme. And I am unfortunately going to pick the black shade because I've never used it. Like, a lot of these are like really good eyeshadows and like swatch really well. I just don't use them. I don't know how to use them. They scare me or they look funny on me. Like, this is definitely not because they're bad shadows. Next palette is my Pat McGrath palette. So there's this beautiful baby on the inside. There is actually not a shade in here I don't like, so we're not picking in her either. I mean, there's only 6 shades. I would hope I would love every shade in here. Sorry. And then the last palette I'm gonna pull from for this video is the Nightingale Pretty Vulgar palette. Oh, we got a toss up again. It's either going to be All Nighter or Silver Spoon. The blue or the black. I'm gonna go with the blue because I feel like I'll never use it. I'll never ever ever use it. Swatch is pretty, is a cool color, will never use it. I feel like overall this color scheme is very odd. I'm actually really surprised about this orange because looking at this orange on my arm, I'm like, wow, it's a really pretty color. But when it comes to looking at that palette, I don't gravitate towards it. I think it's just in the wrong palette. I feel like if it was in a different palette, it would be fine, but just in that palette, I don't like it. I'm interested to know, are these like shades that I pulled that you're like, those are your absolute favorites? If so, again, I'm not trying to be negative in this video. I was just actually curious about like which colors I don't gravitate towards, and I really don't like blues, which is strange because I loved greens in that last video. I feel like I need to get out of my comfort zone more and try to use black eyeshadows more often, because I feel like a lot of people, like when they do eyeshadow reviews or like tutorials and stuff, they're like, oh, I need to have a black in my eyeshadow palettes because I need it to deepen up the crease. So I'm wondering, maybe I could just start to learn how to dabble in the darks to deepen up my crease a little bit more. This was fun. I almost liked this one better than the My Favorite Shade one because this kind of like shows like what I don't gravitate towards. So I know if they ever come out with an eyeshadow that is predominantly blue, I wouldn't buy it anyways, but don't buy it, you know? Hopefully you guys liked this video as well. If you did, please give it a thumbs up before you go. Also make sure to hit that subscribe button before we leave because I do upload every day, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard. And hopefully that means I see all of you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!